All right, let's see what we got going on today. Who's out here? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Kenny, how's it going? Today's conversation 1.0 versus 2.0. 1.0 versus 2.0. We're going to actually go through and answer questions that people have. I want to give folks the opportunity to ask away to clarify any confusion, any misconceptions. How's my sound? Sound good? Camera's good. Mike's good. What's going on? Urgent labor. Jamal, we're good. Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Kenny, great. CJ Johnson, excellent. So yeah, this is actually we're not doing a training session today. We just want to have a conversation with folks out there to ask questions about the programs. I know I've been getting a lot of questions in my community app. We've been receiving questions on the website and as well as on the YouTube channel. So again, I want to basically go through, answer questions that people are asking me, and then be able to answer all the questions that you guys have as well. What's up, Nikki? Nikki, you don't have to be here today. All we're doing is this. We're talking to folks who have questions about whether they should join any of our programs. How much does it cost? What are they paying for? What do they receive for their money and things like that. So definitely for folks out there listening, ask questions, interact. Let us know what you think. See if we can clarify some things out here for folks out and make it less confusing. That's the point of today. So let me start off first and foremost. Let me go with that. I'll drop a couple questions in there. Thank you for showing love, Nikki. It's always appreciated. By the way, we just actually finished, Nikki. We did a review of the RFP for Newport today. I just got off the phone with your team, so looks like everything's good. Just waiting on the pricing to finish up that package. So that's a good thing. Before we get started, by the way, again, if you have questions, drop it in the chat. Queen Lee, you joined up. She said she should join hands down. Good stuff. And you're relatively new, right? You're new to the channel, so that's good. I love it. That's my girl Nikki on here. But Queen Lee, you're new. When did you join up? When did you sign up? Let me know. When did you sign up? Because again, you've got your name on YouTube. And oh, my man Josh Pollard. Damn, man. I can see your picture in my face, Josh. Yes, we've been doing amazing. In fact, with that said, Josh, let me go ahead and congratulate some people. First and foremost, Kimala, her construction company, they won another $250,000 contract before fiscal a few weeks ago. Congratulations to her. Fiona picked up her second contract this month. Jared, 24-year-old, won his first contract. I picked up 3 contracts this month. Manny, I just got a message from somebody, Manny, in our group who won a $3 million contract this month. So congratulations to those folks. And interesting enough, I met with some people when I was up in the DC area that bought their house using government contract money. So congratulations to those folks out there as well. And all the people that just signed up, welcome, welcome, welcome to our community. Looking forward to it. We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the future. In fact, one of the things, Nikki, that we're doing differently is that I want to incorporate bringing on more experts onto our Tuesday calls. So that's one thing that we are planning and scheduling out for the upcoming sessions. And so we are looking at scheduling out the next 9 months of guests to come on into our Tuesday calls for members to ask questions. In fact, I just finished up a podcast with a incredible woman-owned business that's going to be on the podcast, and she already agreed to teach a private session for our students. Nikki, this lady is phenomenal. I literally we interviewed her 3:00 today, and she actually, it's funny because I'll share you guys a little bit of the story while people are kind of coming into the chat today. But she worked 75 miles from her job, and she had to commute 75 miles each day back and forth to work. And she said that a couple things changed. She did her evaluation, and some of you may know this, corporate people, the 360 evaluation, something like that, 360 degree, I don't know, 360 something, where they give you a rating on how, your where you can strong points are and where your weak points are. And her company evaluated her, and one of the things that they said was she's too mouthy. And by the way, she's Colombian, so that didn't go over too well. She said they said that she was too mouthy. But the other thing, which was interesting, was that her rating went down, and they knocked her language skills because English was her second language. And on top of the commute, she just felt as though, right, corporate world was not for her. She went off into the government world and started her business in 2014. And her husband asked her what was her backup plan, and she said she had none, that she was going to make it work and she was going to make it and succeed. And funny thing about this story with this guest was that she actually, I told her, I go, how did you start that? How did you finance it? And by the way, everyone, if you have questions about 1.0, 2.0, drop it in the chat. I'm just, um, drop it in the chat. I'll get to your questions and we'll keep talking. So I'm just kind of running through a story that I thought was interesting today. And so she left the company, went out and started her business, and today she has 9 million in revenues, 70 employees. And she does one of her core services is language translation services for the government. She is doing phenomenal. She's a service disabled veteran and woman-owned business, and she got her 8A. And so she's just been crushing it. And I thought, wow, when people say mouthy, I thought you'd be a great entrepreneur because you're not afraid to go and talk to people. That's the way I looked at mouthy, but apparently in the corporate world, she had some senior people that were intimidated by her. So just thought I would share that story to kind of kick things off today. I just finished her and I can't wait. And she's going to be one of the people that we bring into our Tuesday calls to talk to people about what does it take to grow to that level of success. And she's really, really passionate about helping business owners, particularly women-owned businesses, at that. So looking forward to having her come on and spend some time with us in our private sessions. So let's talk 1.0 versus 2.0, folks. In fact, let me go back and answer some questions that people have. I hope, Nikki, I didn't run you off. I was telling a story just for you. Let's see. All right. This person says, I got my DBA. Do I need my LLC? Yes. Definitely, you need to get incorporated. DBA is not a corporation. So definitely you want to get incorporated. That's just the proper way to do business. In fact, I'll tell you a good story about that. A few years ago, I encouraged Maria Martinez to get incorporated. And so she did. And then that way people can pay you in your business name and your company name. And then when things like happen with COVID, and then there's such things like the EIDL loan and monies and stuff like that, it makes it much easier to qualify because you've got your financials and everything running through a legal entity. So again, definitely, it's going to make it much more professional and much more in line with business. Plus, if you don't know all the benefits of setting up an LLC, just look on YouTube. There's people that talk all the time about the benefits of doing LLCs. In fact, there are organizations out here. Let me pull some up. I just want to share some cool stuff that I was doing some research on some things that I want to share. And that it's kind of off topic, but because you asked the question about the LLC, I think it actually makes perfect sense. There's organizations out here that receive a ton of funding from the SBA, and these are venture capital firms and venture lenders and things like that. And guess what? They all have LLCs. So if it's good enough for a venture capital firm, it's good enough for us, the small business. Definitely want to do that. And again, if you have any questions about all of the benefits, tax reasons, liability reasons, insurance, and everything else, definitely look on YouTube about the benefits of the LLC. All right. This person says, do you have training specifically on being a consultant? In fact, yes, we do. We have modules on being a consultant specifically. And so, yeah, we do. We go over that because a lot of companies, a lot of people getting started off, that's the way that they start and break into the marketplace. And there's several reasons for that. One is it can be easier if you don't have past performance and you don't have a team and you're not necessarily procurement ready. That's one way, an avenue that you can break into the market uh, in advance of becoming procurement ready. Because one of the things that I see, and one of the challenges, and I'll say this, I had lunch with someone at the very, very highest levels of the SBA. I had lunch with him last week, and he said to me this, and this is important for everyone listening to this. This is super important for everyone listening to this. He said to me that there's approximately 75,000 small businesses out there that are eligible, like in the social, economic, and basically in that 23% category. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, the government already understands that two-thirds of them will never win a contract. So out of 75,000 small businesses that fall in that 23% category, two-thirds of you, right, on here will never win a contract. And so that's why it's so critical, it's so important that you do have training, that you do have mentorship, that you are in a organization that is helping advance the mission for small businesses, encouraging the government to use small businesses, supporting laws and policies that are in the favor of small businesses, and it's just being in that type of environment so that you can increase your chances for success. And so again, with this question, consulting is a route that I don't have the stats, but I've been meaning to look it up. All of the people who retire from the government become consultants. That's just standard. People leave 20 years of service, 30 years of service, and go out and work for Lockheed Martin and Boeing and Northrop Group, and they become consultants. So that is something that is widely used in government and commonly used. All right. Let's see. 2 weeks ago, you watched the free stuff and continue to binge on YouTube material. Yes. I mean, I have a lot of videos on YouTube, so you can't go wrong binging on that stuff. And we're going to continue, for all of those who are wondering, we're going to continue to put out YouTube videos. We're going to continue to go live. We're going to continue to share this information online. We're going to do it a little bit differently on the YouTube stuff. But for now, everything is going to be the same until we change over. But when we change over the structure, we're going to make our videos where only people who are subscribed to our YouTube channel as members will have access to ask questions. And so while you can watch it on the broadcast, you won't be able to ask questions unless you are a member. But let's see. But we're talking about the course today. Can I get started with DBA, DUNS, etc.? Again, I think we'd address that. I would recommend starting off the proper way with an LLC or some other form of corporation. I would not recommend starting with DBA because, again, you don't want to start wrong. There's no hurry. The government's not going anywhere. The opportunities aren't going anywhere. It's not that likely that you're going to win something immediately. And so, again, set it up the proper way because it's such a headache to go through the process and to only have to restart it and to do it differently. So again, I would just start off the right way in the beginning, and then that way it's smooth sailing and you can move forward without being interrupted by having to change the name and to redo all of your stuff in the material. All right. Free haul. I just bought Lifetime yesterday. Oh, that was you that bought that. I saw someone bought the Lifetime yesterday. Congratulations. Excited for that. By the way, with that Lifetime, don't forget there are, and I don't know the numbers, but there's some calls with me, so make sure to set that up. So good stuff. Can't wait to meet you in person. Eric Harrison, the Eric that it's got his name spelled wrong. What's up, brother? Quan, about to sign up now. Okay, this is a good question. So what type and or amount of insurance is needed for a consultant? Uh, there's no type of insurance that's required to be a consultant, right? Because ultimately you are going to be doing all the same things you do for your business for another company, and they're the ones that have to have the liability insurance coverage. So there is no requirements that are required. There's no insurance requirements that the government imposes on you. Now, if your state or your local or to be able to be incorporated If that is a requirement that's posed by, like, say, your local government for the fact of being a business, that's something different. But for the purposes of doing government contracting, there's no insurance requirements that are imposed on you. What's up, Mark? How's it going? Uh, all right. Craig, Eric replied today that going consultant, I don't have to have a niche, but find someone that has a niche. Do you recommend sticking to one niche or doing multiple niche? I always, this goes for everyone out there. And, and my podcast guest said this today. She has three things that she does well. Three. We, for some reason, as small businesses, believe that we could do all of these things really well. And I know that we're optimistic, and I know that we're talented and we're smart, and we're great people. But the government is going to discover that you cannot do all this stuff, because the level of commitment, the level of expertise that they're looking for, the quality of work, the level of the proposals and things that you got to produce. This person writes white papers, respond to sources sought. The amount of effort that takes, you cannot do that for five or three or maybe even two areas really well. It's what we're doing is we're solving problems. We're helping the government, we're meeting their needs, and it's really important that you understand what their problem areas are, and that takes really getting to know them and getting involved in understanding that agency in and out, meeting with the program managers, knowing the contract folks, who's putting out what, when, how, all of that stuff that it's really difficult to do with multiple niches. And the example that I'll give into that is, again, one is my podcast guest. She does three things. Three, that's it. And she does three things really well. In fact, let me see if I can pull it up, because she does language services, workplace culture assessment, and business support services. That's it. That's it. And I asked her, I said, well, why don't you do construction or IT or a sexy thing? She says, because as small businesses, we're chasing, she says, shiny objects. And we've all heard about shiny object syndrome. They're trying to follow the money instead of following their passion. This person gets up excited to go to work every day. She has a work-life balance. She says at 5 p.m. she shuts down, and she was able to build a very strong, successful company in 5 years, and focusing on three, what I would say are three like very niche areas. So I just want to caution anyone out here who's thinking I could do two things pretty good. Pick one and then go all in on that, and that's going to be increase your odds for success. Remember, 67% of small businesses win no contracts, none. Two-thirds of you are never going to win a contract out there. I'm trying to increase your odds of success through my trainings, through my teachings, through all of my content. So I just want to say that. My man Mark says, hey, hold on. Wait, Mark. 2 clients meetings scheduled this week. Good job, Mark. I love it. Mark, you're going to nail it, brother. I already know it. You're going to nail it. Mark signed up for our 1.0 recently. All right. If your contact agent of a solicitation have a number that doesn't work, what do you call it instead? If the contact agent of a solicitation has a number that doesn't work, who do you call instead? Well, if you must call someone, then even if the number doesn't work, you can easily, there's a database. If someone's an employee of the government, you can pretty much Google their name and the agency, and there'll be a number like that'll pop up. GovWin used to allow you to do that. You usually could search like FedMine. There's some other tools out there that you could just type in that person's name and their agency and phone number, and it comes up. And you can look at you could start off with the, what do you call it? Help me out. The organizational chart. So the organizational chart for that particular agency. So you say DIBS. So DIBS is DLA. Find out where where in DLA, because they have DLA like land and maritime, and then have DLA aviation. And so depending upon where they're at in DLA, you could narrow that down to the organizational chart and get their name and number. So, ooh, and says facts. Work for Homeland Security as an analyst, 14 years and transitioning into government contracting. Sweet. Rodney from USICS, did your course link you with mentors? Uh, no, we do not link anyone with mentors because we don't know you and we don't know your capabilities. However, as we get to know people, as we get to know you and your business and your capabilities, I do suggest there are certain episodes for people to watch. And actually, SAP '05, this is a really good question. I'm actually happy you asked the question because one of the people that I met with last week said to me, Eric, why don't you have and again, this is this person not knowing what I have available says, why don't you create a program where you train people and you build them up? And then once you get them to a certain level, then you can have them start working with people like myself on our entities once they built up. And so interesting that you asked this question because so many of my podcast guests want to partner and work with small businesses, but they also want to make sure that you're competent, you're capable, and you're ready, specifically procurement ready. We're going to use that word a lot today, specifically procurement ready in order to receive opportunities. So while I cannot match you up with mentors but I can, based on your own knowledge and your skill sets and what you're trying to do, I can recommend you for podcast guests to listen to. And if you have capabilities, what we've done in the past is I have, and I could show you, we have had different guests look for small businesses to meet certain requirements. And so you might, if you're on my email list, you've probably seen us sent out an email asking for people that have these certain requirements that then were requested by some of the people who are mentors. So we do that very often. We do make introductions for people, for example, for guests of ours. But again, it's not matching you up with mentors exactly the way that you say it. So, but if you come into the group and you're part of the Tuesday calls, you're going to find mentors. We have students that are telling me that they're mentoring other students there. So it's just more of I don't do it because I don't know how people work together, right? I don't know what, I don't want to get in the way of maybe you and someone else not gelling, but we do put you in a setting to where you can have access to mentors and where you can actually, you yourself can reach out to those people and see if they would be willing to mentor you. So that's what we do give you. Currently still in the U.S. Air Reserves. Who's going to So, Aquin Lee, yes, we did have quizzes at the end. People weren't doing the quizzes, believe it or not, right? So, I don't. It's hard sometimes trying to appeal to folks out here. So, um, Eric Canales, welcome back. So we did have quizzes. People were not doing the quizzes. However, like I said, we are reshaping everything, and so even though you don't have the quizzes, you're about to get a whole bunch of new stuff that you don't even miss because you didn't know it was coming, but it's coming. So you're about to get a whole bunch of new stuff, and you're probably going to be mad at me for adding new stuff because your progress is going to go from wherever you're at now, say 20%, to back to like 5% when we add in all the new content. So, um, but if that's something that you want, I'll definitely take that back to our team and make sure we put it in there. Will a virtual office work when I'm applying for my cage number? So interesting. That's a very good question that you asked. The government actually recently, and I say recently, like in the last 6 months, maybe even a year, they started requiring that you had to have a lease in order to get approved in SAM. So you had to give them a lease agreement in order to get approved in SAM. And that's something that they changed recently. So again, while a virtual office um, I'm not saying it's not going to work, but you've got wherever your office is, you got to show a lease agreement. So however you figure that out, because for example, I know that a long time ago we used to have those, I think Kelly offices suites. Does anybody remember that? It's the equivalent of WeWork now. I had a WeWork office, but it wasn't WeWork. It was a different entity back in the days, like 10 years ago. It was Kelly offices. I forgot what it was, but I had essentially it was like a virtual office. So I would pay to have my office and like a Texas address because I was pursuing opportunities in like Texas. And so when I would go to Texas, I'd have meetings and they would give me access inside of the boardroom, and I could have people in there, and it's a nice building, things like that. However, they did give me a lease and a contract that went with it. So wherever your office is with the virtual office space, you just got to be able to show a lease in order to get it approved. Mm. Kenny says no, it won't work. Right. 3M's pop. Eric, wondering what are your thoughts on starting as a vendor for my local municipality, start my dealings with the government. I do landscaping and snow removal things. Landscaping and snow removal is a very niche market, and that's great. And you know, funny thing, I'm glad that you asked this question. I asked my podcast guest the same thing. I said, "Well, why did you go straight to federal and not start with state and local? Because that seems to be the common theme that people are asking about. Hey, we want to go to state and local first as opposed to federal." And one of the things that she said was the reason why people actually go to state and local as opposed to federal is a lot of times to build their past performance. And I've had several guests of mine who've we keep telling people this, as long as you have done the service for someone, right? It doesn't matter if it was your grandmama. It don't matter if it was your cousin or your church. If you've done snow removal services and landscaping services for the church, I don't care, even if you did it for free, right? You still did perform the services, right? You still have a customer, you still have past performance. She, and I have to get this right. I'm going to my notes. This is back my notes from my call today. My customer, I'm sorry, my podcast guest, she said that for her translation services, she actually, because remember, she left the company. So when she started, she had no past performance. So what she did was she started doing birth certificate translations to build up her, she incorporated her business, and she started doing birth certificate translations to build past performance. With those birth certificate translations and again, that's hospitals and things like that. So she said they were like $50 a piece. And she used that to build past performance. Now, when she bid on her government contract, she had done these services, provided that translation services for an actual entity, whether it be a hospital or anything like that. The reason why I always tell people about the state and local is because, in my opinion, it's it's a race to the bottom, and it's much more competitive. And yes, for something like a landscape or a snow removal, um, there are opportunities out there. But when you start to compete on price, and when you have to be the low bid, that's where they start eating into profits. And we're not doing this for our health. We have to make money. I've never had people that come in and start off, and like my student here, there's so many ways that the federal government has created these avenues through joint ventures and teaming and using the past performance of your sub and mentor protege, all of these different vehicles and 8A and service disabled and women. They've created so many pathways for us to be able to get money. To me, it doesn't make sense to go to that other level because the government has created all of these pathways and all these opportunities, and they basically put all of these things in here that are little loopholes so that we can, as a small guy, can get started and start winning. The state and local are still like straight and narrow. Like they're still like dot 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 dot. And so they are not flexible. They don't care. They're not creating as many avenues for you to move. And on top of that, when there's a low bid, and this is my biggest, again, you can go to my video why I hate state and local contracts. It's a low bid situation. How can you've got a minimum nut that you've got to meet, right? So we've all got a minimum nut we got to crack to hit profitability and to be break even. If you're in a low bid situation and someone else is bidding landscape services against you, and let's say, I don't know, let's say you're cutting out acres and you say you cut for 50 bucks an acre and this guy's charging 25 bucks an acre, can you come down to 25 bucks an acre to win a contract? That just don't make no sense. And what happens is, as small businesses, as minorities, we get frustrated because we're saying, oh, you know, and again, this I hate to paint a blanket picture because all municipalities are not the same. There are programs out there that maybe they're stronger than others, but it just seems to be the common theme amongst local contracting is that they're not letting people make real money. And the areas where they're letting people make money is the areas where there's not a lot of competition. And so you got to basically go and cater your business to that. On the government side, 3M's pop. I can tell you one of my students sold a snow like plow machine to the government. That was her first contract. She sold them an actual machine. So think about this. If you do landscaping, you do snow removal, you also know where to buy the equipment from, what type of equipment they need. So you can look at opportunities like that in the federal government because you already know because you buy the equipment. So you know what equipment is good. You know what kind of equipment works, what kind of equipment is bad. And guess what? You can use that same expertise. And this is the difference of my thinking. And this is my experience share with folks out here. And again, someone's asked about a mentorship. This is me experience sharing with you folks out here. Watch this. So now you take your same expertise of landscaping and snow removal, you know all the equipment that's involved in that. And when you start looking at when the government has a situation that comes up, for example, they have a disaster or things like that, you can talk to them about the type of equipment that they should be purchasing in order to fix that. You would have been better suited to receive that opportunity for the type of equipment because they don't know. They're not the experts. They're not the professionals. You are. You can tell them why they need this equipment, what kind of equipment, why they need these kind of blades, what level they should be at, and things like that. That's going to give you an advantage that, again, at the state and local level, they could give two craps about that. But the federal level, they want to hear from you. They want you're solving their problems, and that's what's important. They want to know that. And that's why, for me, um, I say you don't need it because if you've already doing landscape, you're doing snow removal, you've got past performance, take that past performance to the government, figure out who's buying that stuff in your services, make friends with them. And I guarantee you, you could probably do a much better job than the person that's there now because the person that's there now just happen to know how to do government contracts. That doesn't mean they're good at actually doing landscape and snow removal. All right, Eric Canales. Hey, Eric, I'm still working getting started as a consultant in Michigan, but from what I hear, my old counterparts within DoD money has dried up for aircraft and wheeled vehicle system upgrades. Um, Again, I don't know about specifically that area, aircraft and vehicle system upgrades, but I do know that within the government, money flows. So yes, while it may have dried up for aircraft and wheeled system vehicle upgrades, whatever was associated with that, there's going to be still money for those areas. So, for example, if they're not doing the upgrades, that means they're buying new systems. Does that make sense, Eric? If they're not doing the aircraft system upgrades, that means they got to be buying new aircraft. But I can tell you this: we have a student that Maria just interviewed for our podcast who did 94 transactions, $1 million last year, and all he sold was aircraft parts. They're using dibs. I think someone earlier asked about dibs, using DLA and dibs. So I don't know about the upgrades, but he did sell aviation parts to the government because he's a pilot and he actually owns multiple planes. And that's what kind of what I was telling the last guy about owning the equipment. This person who's a pilot who flies planes for a living understands the equipment of a plane. So he was able to resell those parts to the government. You understand the equipment of a snow machine and landscaping. Government is buying those parts every single day. So while no, you may not be able to provide the services just yet, you can, but maybe it's an easier approach to sell them the parts and equipment. And he did $1 million in sales last year of that. In fact, he would have done more, but he didn't have the capital to actually build it out further. He probably could have done 2 million if he had all the capital to buy all of the orders that they were requesting from him. So that's what I would say, Eric. Look at um, again, look at ancillary businesses that are picking up as a result of these other ones trying up. Why not focus on grants versus contracts? That's a great question. Several reasons. In fact, there's a video. Hey, what's up, Tam Reed? I just saw you join the room. Um, because the grants are not designed to make you have a business. Grants are not designed for you to actually grow your business and hire people. Grants are based on temporary happenings. Contracts are long term. Contracts, once you've opened up your pipeline, once you have broken in, they continue to essentially in the federal arena. I'm not going to say another. In the federal arena, they just essentially continue to flow. And with contracts, you can get them without bidding. You can get them by negotiating. I have someone right now who's providing a student who's providing water to the Afghan refugees that are coming now. He's actually sending a lot of stuff to the border where everyone's watching on TV about the migrant crisis with the Haitians. He's actually, I know because if you're on my IG, you probably saw me requesting some trucks to go down to the border. He sent a couple of trucks down to the border Saturday. He sent a couple Sunday, delivering fire extinguishers and other supplies down there. I have another student that's been providing food, catering food at the border. So once you get into the contracts business, they like you and you deliver, the government continues to feed you and feed you and feed you. And actually, there's a video. In fact, I think I have it here. Let me see if I can find it. I think I have that video here for you to watch from my man, Matthew Lesko. Anybody know Matthew Lesko? Anybody knows Matthew Lesko? The guy, the question mark guy? He actually has a video that says why contracts are better than grants. I'm trying to find it. Let's see if I can find it. Government contracts for small businesses are bigger and better than grants or loans. Here, I'm going to drop that in the chat. Anybody cares to watch it? That's a good one. Queen Lee, I jumped ahead to proposal writing solution I'm working on is a little different, so I did it myself. Can I get you want to critique what I've done? Actually, Queen Lee, Maria, we actually just trumped some proposals in there, some new ones that we added, I think a week ago. So we'll Maria, if you send it to service@govcongiants.com, that goes to our whole team. All of us get forwarded. So send it to us and we'll take a look at it and we'll critique it. We don't have a problem with that. Listen, one thing about me, I'm going to tell everyone this. If you're trying, I will help you. But you got to be trying. I'm not helping people who are asking me questions about things that we already teach. Yes, on YouTube, that's fine. But if you're going to be successful at this thing, you have to put in forth the effort. It was funny because I was listening to something right before we jumped on. And the person said, did I write it down? I hope I wrote it down. Oh, wait. I think I have it on my screen here. No. Oh, it says people emulate the end result, not the process. And I think that's very important is that no one wants to go through the process. They want the results. And while, yes, we celebrate all the people's contract wins, Manny has been in with me for a year now. And Manny has been on many of our calls, or on our Tuesday calls. He's asked questions. He's engaged. And that's why when he asked me about looking at his proposal or things like that, I knew his name. I know Queen Lee. I've never met this person, but I know because they're constantly commenting on my YouTube videos. So I know this person already. If I don't know you, and there's nothing, I'm not saying I'm trying to know everybody, but if you're not asking questions, that means you're not doing anything. And if you're not doing anything, chances are you're probably not getting results. Now, I'm hoping you're not asking questions because I explained it so well that you understood it, but it's probably not the case. So let's just get real. I want people to actually do the work so that you can ask me the tough questions. I want to get to the tough questions. I was helping someone recently, Chris, one of our students. He had a billing issue on his contracts that he just completed that were over $1 million. He had some issues with how to submit the bills to the government for the task orders. And so again, I don't mind talking with him about that, because why? He got to the point where he did $1 million in task orders. You get to that point, your boy Eric's all in. Don't look, you don't have to worry about it. I've been saying that forever, and I've done it. Because guess how many people take me up on this? Very few. I can name them. Eric, you like that, Eric Canellis? Good. I'm happy you like that. All right. Sexy symbol. Yeah, I hope you got that video. That's sweet. So actually, yes, if you are in the 2.0, we actually have something that we just did on capability statements, and we literally have 4 hours. We did 2 sessions this past year where we reviewed students' capability statements, like on our Tuesday calls. So they stepped up and they volunteered to show us their capability statements, and we just went through and we reviewed it and we suggested changes. And we did that for about 24 people, right? And so that's actually another question someone else asked me, which is interesting. I've seen people pay for capability statement reviews $2,000 and $3,000 for people to do their capability statements. And we did that for our students at no additional charge. If enough people in the group, to answer your question, if enough people in the group want to for us to do that again on a Tuesday call just to review capability statements, we will do that. These are your sessions, and we cater them to you. And so again, whatever the needs are, the people are, that's what we're going to do. Because if the majority of people say, hey, I'm new and I want to review my capability statements, we have no problem with doing that. But we do have right now 4 hours of content just on capability statements, where we actually looked at and evaluated dozens of capability statements of students like yourself. So, all right, free, yes, study course. And then don't forget, free, I owe you a couple phone calls. Friday decided to pull the trigger and start an LLC, but in Texas, veterans don't pay tax if the company starts on or after January 2022. But, David, I saw this thing. It was a meme. And what I liked about this meme, it says, it was a guy holding a book. And he said, hold on. And he was holding a book, and he says, I finally decided to pull the trigger on buying a house 5 years later. But now the houses are that were once 240,000 are now 700,000. So now you got to save more money to do that. What happens? There's a lot of things that can happen between now and 2022. In my opinion, and again, I'll go back to my podcast guest today. She said that she prepared for a year and a half, right? While she was waiting for her to get her 8A, she was preparing and developing and cultivating the relationships so that when she got her 8A, the people were ready to give her a contract. And within 2 months of getting her 8A, they gave her a contract. By the way, starting in the next month and a half, we're going to start offering certifications. So we will start helping people with their certifications, veteran-owned, hub zone, 8A. We're going to start offering that service for people out there because we've got an overwhelming demand, and I'm tired of sending people to other folks out there when you could come to me, because not only can we help you get it, we can show you how to make use of it. So a lot of great tidbits. In fact, this lady really today, I can't wait. I think she's going to be one of my first experts that we bring on a Tuesday call. So, all right. Great job, AS, from finishing the free course. Awesome, awesome, awesome. A lot of people forgot we have a free course. We do, freegovconcourse.com. Feel free. We still will continue bringing the value. NK, listen. You're welcome. I enjoy this, and I continue to tell people that I enjoy this. I have a lot of fun. Anyone that knows me in real life says, like, this is all I talk about. And so I'm probably pretty boring to people in real life, because while you are all excited to hear about this, when I go outside of the doors, people don't care about government contracts. So I'm actually just as happy to spend this time with you, because this is like what I like to talk about. And so when I get out of here and people want to talk about, I don't know, Love and Hip Hop, or whatever that show is, Locked Up on an Island, or Love Island, or Paradise, I don't know. I don't know anything about that stuff. So unfortunately, I can't talk to you about the latest and greatest, like, TV shows or movies. I know 50 Cent has some show that's out. I've never seen Power. I've never seen a single episode of Power. I know about Power because I like 50 Cent. In fact, I've got 2 of his books behind me. The 50th Law, I thought it was behind me. And so I like him as a business person. I like him as a music, but I haven't had a chance to watch his shows. But you got to give and take. If people are looking for an arena to get into, there's a lot of opportunity supporting wildfires. My man Tyler, who's up there. Yeah, in fact, Tyler, we have our podcast guest, Mark Masters, and that's exactly what he does. He supports wildfires. He fights wildfires. He supplies them with people, helicopters. In fact, he does wildfire prevention training for government agencies. And he was at my meet and greet event that we had in Dallas last year, just before COVID happened. So Mark Masters, if you haven't seen the podcast, that's what he does exactly, is fight wildfires. So thanks, Tyler. Yep, that's true. They're not going anywhere. And again, that Free says, don't worry, I'm boring too. I don't even have a social media. No, Free, look, I have a social media only to post content, not to actually review people's content. I don't know anybody's birthdays. I don't know what's going on in their personal life. I don't know who had a baby. I don't know who got married. I don't know any of that stuff. So don't be mad at me if I don't say happy birthday or congratulations on your wedding or your accomplishment, because I don't follow that. I don't. I make content. I don't have a chance to put the content out. By the way, listen, make sure to give us our video a thumbs up. There's 52 people watching this. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the like button, because we need more likes. We need more shares. We need that. And so definitely I want to encourage people, hit the like button. I see only 2 thumbs up. Where's my regular people out here, you guys know how this social media stuff works. If you don't hit the thumbs up on the bottom, or hit the like button on YouTube, then the social media people are going to think this video sucked and they're not going to promote it. So boring is good. Yes, it is. David's a wildland firefighter. I can help. David, make sure that you, I would say, look at Mark Masters' video that we have. YouTube. Let me find it for you guys. I'll drop it in there. The podcast that we did with Mark Masters. Go ahead and keep posting. I'm going to find it. Okay. There it is. I just dropped it in there. That's the interview we did with Mark Masters. Take a look at that one. And again, Mark Masters, he does the same thing. He fights wildfires. So, all right. Do students that bought the old 1.0 get still upgraded everything? Mixed boy, that's a really good question. So it depends on when you bought the 1.0, right? Because at one point we did have the 1.0 that was a lifetime, right? That was a lifetime for everything, but that was discontinued last year. So I don't know when you bought it. That would be a great question to send an email, service@govcongiants.com, to Erica, and let her look at when you signed up, the membership level. And one thing I will say that I do that I learned from one of my early mentors when I was doing business. If I told you that your price included unlimited upgrades, I still honor that. So if at that time you bought it, that was included, then yeah, I still honor it. Mhm. Do you have training using Unison Global? Yeah, I don't have training using Unison Global because it's not something that I actually do, and um, it's not something that I recommend as a strategy for building a like long-term successful business. But Unison Global is pretty easy. There's really nothing, you don't really need training because all you're doing is giving them a price on a product that you're providing to them. So there's really no training required because all you do is you're quoting prices, right? So if they ask for 1,000 pens, and you pay 50 cents for a pen, you tell them you sell it to them for 75 cents and have it delivered. That's it. So it's really, you understand global, there's no training needed for that. It's pretty straightforward. It's just like if you were doing Amazon selling or something, it's just a bid board. So you go on there, see what bids are available, you get the prices of what stuff costs, and you tell the government what you're willing to sell it for. And then sometimes they'll do a reverse auction where you could keep bringing your prices down. So let's say you start off and you pay 50 cents for these. You could get them for 50 cents, and let's say you tell the government, I'll sell it to you for $1. And then they'll have like this reverse auction where you can bring it down. Let's say you bid $1, somebody else bids 90 cents. And then you could go to 89 cents. And then someone else goes to 88 cents. And then you go to 87 cents. Then somebody else goes. But the reason why I don't like it, as you can see, is because what are they doing? They're driving you to the bottom. And like, what's the point of that? The objective here is to make money, to be able to buy yourself time and freedom to do the things that you want to do. The objective is not really to give the government some cheap goods and services so you could say that you want a government contract. That's vanity. That's not sanity. And it's definitely not profitability. So again, you hear a lot of people here talking about they want a contract, but how much money do they really make? And that's why it's much easier, in my opinion, to actually learn the strategies that it takes to be successful at this for the long haul. So just kind of what I think. No problem, Tyler. I got you. Kevin, Londa says you can self-certify. SBA's free online certification process is live. Yeah. Again, I don't know what when they're talking about self-certify, because the WSB and EWSB, they've gone through so many changes. So, but yeah, we show you all the time. We tell people the certifications, everything is free. Everything is free. However, what I've come to realize is that even though I tell people it's free and I send people to the places, thank you, Kevin, for posting that. I've, I want people to go that some people just feel more comfortable having someone else review and look over the information to ensure its success. And so we want to be able to offer that value. I don't want to send people to other folks that I don't know, I don't trust, and that could potentially harm or take advantage of my students and my people. So, yes, Kevin Williams is right. Here's the information for you, Yolanda, so that you can go to, go to the right places and attempt to do it. All right. Alcolini says, if anybody wants to practice small talks, let me know. I'll be happy to practice with you. Maria, do you have the name of the person that Eric mentioned is so partial government? Yep. Eric, yeah, Maria has that information. The podcast is not out yet. So we just recorded it, but it's not out. It's actually not posted at this point. All right. It still says unlimited upgrade now. I don't know what you're mentioning. Which one? What says unlimited upgrade? Eric, I'm not American, but I've been learning about government contracting through your course. Is there any way that a non-US citizen can get involved in government contracting? That's a great question. Hold on 1 second. Oh, that's a great question. Actually, what's interesting is that, oh, I just realized my screen. Let me change my window. Let me put myself up a little bit higher. Is that better? Oops, take that off. Okay. All right, good. That's better. All right. Yeah, because my head was getting cut off. Um, actually, interesting enough. So we, the government does contracts all over the world, all of these countries, all these nations, and we work with non-US citizens all the time. That is part of doing government contracts. I think that when people ask these questions, they're not actually looking at what's happening around the world. How do you think that we get stuff done in Barbados and Haiti and all these places? We use local workforce all the time. In fact, the government has a process for if you're a non-US citizen, what does it take? Or even if you're forget non-US citizen, if your business is based in another country, you could still get registered for SAM. And that's a process. We have people that are registered for SAM in Italy, and we have guests on our podcast that helps do that. So we've had people that are registered over in Iraq and Iran for doing contracts. We have contracts that we do in South America, Central America, Brazil, I mean, all over the world. So not only can a non-US citizen get contracts, an it's non United States corporation can get contracts. And so I think a lot of times we have to stop and think, like, wait a second, how do we do contracts over there? It's not always American companies working in those in Africa. We're using local labor. In fact, that's a lot of the requirements is they want local people there working on the contracts because they understand the land and the layout and everything like that. So your type 8 2.0 has a type of $89. I wonder where you're seeing that at. Send it to me. I want to see that. Says 1.0 has upgrades. Ooh. Adalua, I want you to send me. Hold on. Send me that information you're talking about where it says that because that's not true. Um, There is no unlimited upgrades for that. So I don't know where you're reading that, but definitely send it to me. And then the 2.0, where you said it's $89, I want to send that to me. Here, let me give you my email address. Send it to me there, the errors that you found, so I can look at what you're talking about. Robert, what's going on, Robert? How's it going? How would a small trucking company make use of government contracts? Um, we actually had a small trucking company that we spoke to recently, and they watched one of my videos on working with Crowley, and they reached out to Crowley, and Crowley gave them a subcontract to do work with them to run some lanes. So that's one success story that I can give you. What's up, Robert? Actually, I met Robert at an event this past week in Virginia. Can I hire someone to find cross contract for me if I don't know have a lot of time? Also, will I still make money? I'm in transportation. Yeah, you can hire someone to do anything. I'm sure there's people out there that'd be happy to help find you contracts. Will you still make money? Well, uh, I'm not really sure if you'll make money, but you can hire people to find you contracts because making money involves much more than just winning a contract. And thank you, by the way, for having the courage to ask this question. Making money involves actually not just winning the contract, but delivering right on time, giving the customer what they want, and making sure you price it well so that it makes sense. A lot of folks that I know, their first couple of contracts, they lose money because they didn't know how to price it properly. And so they thinking they were going to be the low bidder. They lost 10, 20, $30,000, maybe even $50,000 on their first contracts because they didn't know how to bid it correctly for what all the requirements called for. And that's something that's common, not just with small businesses, even with large organizations that are not used to doing this type of procurement work. Maybe you're used to. So I'll give you an example, Jeree. One of the things that we just mentioned was I had a student sending stuff down to the border. Well, he called a company to send some trucks down to the border, and this particular entity sent trucks, right? But the requirement said that they had to have like their hazmat certified something trucks, and they needed two people, like workers, to actually offload and unload stuff. So they sent the trucks out there, and they didn't meet those requirements. Well, if that was your contract and you lost money, somebody had to pay for that stuff for them to get out there and make that happen. So someone lost money on that deal. So again, it comes down to understanding the contract, knowing the requirements, and making sure that you put in a price sufficient enough to cover that. Kanitra, did I hear you correctly when you stated one of the requirements to be registered in SAMs is to have a lease agreement? Yes, Kanitra. I've seen where people ask for virtual offices and they change the requirement to ask for a lease agreement. If you know of some other rule, then definitely that's changed since that time. Let me know because it's not something that I do regularly. Once I register in SAM, I'm really pretty much done. But I know people who are trying to do virtual offices, that was a requirement that they had in there. There you go, Jerry. That's Tam's answering your question about hiring someone. They charge 10K a month. I think that's fair. I mean, for me to do that for people, I was charging 8K a month. So I have people that pay it. I will be on the West Coast November the 8th, 9th, around there. November 8th, 9th, somewhere in that area. Yeah, one of the things, and I guess a lot of people answer your questions. One of the things that's interesting that the person that I literally interviewed today stated to me was she was actually on part of her business. She was using consultants to help her, and I think this goes to your point, Jeree. She was actually using consultants to help her in part of her business and fulfilling like contract requirements. And what she realizes if that's an area that she was going to be in long term, she said had to build up her bench, meaning the people that she actually took from being consultants to putting on payroll. And what she did was originally for this particular services that she was offering to government, she started off using primarily consultants to help support that. And then as it became more of a long-term game for her, she started adding people. So then she went from 100% consultants to 80% consultants and 20% staff to about 50-50. And that's where she's at today is about 50-50 consultants and staff. Because the 50% of the staff can support all the ongoing work, and then consultants are called in on an as needed basis or to scale up when some of the requirements cause for them to scale up. So there's no one way to skin a cat, as they like to say. There's multiple ways you can handle it, but that's one recommendation that one of my guests just mentioned to me a few moments ago. So. If I want to live in Gambia and government con, how do you search businesses? Is still the same procedures. Yeah, I mean, all the things that we do are all online. So unless Gambia is a nation that's not allowed access to the United States tools, all the tools that we use are tools that are widely available online on public sources. So I don't see why it would be an issue unless you're like one of those countries that are America and Tam Reed probably would know that better than I would. Unless you're one of those countries that are a threat to our nation, then I don't see an issue in that. Don't be in Perry just caught joining basketball your non-citizen speech, big guy. Yep. Just saying that non-citizens are allowed to do government contracts. I will say this though, if you're going to be in the IT arena, there are some citizenship requirements for working on IT systems. And they're not really even citizenship requirements. They're more of Tam Reed, help me out. It's more of you've got to be able to get like some sort of like specialty, like a background and security type. You have to be able to get to a security level if you're working in IT. So that would be the only area where I would see some issues of being a non-citizen is the government letting you work on some of the IT stuff or any of the like secure things that we do. But other than that, and even if you're in IT, you can still do state and local. But other than that, the government hires, we work with non-citizens all the time and non-US based companies. Oscar Jones, trying to sell a FEMA and a big disaster contracts. Yeah, we had one of our students just picked up when the last hurricane hit. He did over about $1 million in sales when that last hurricane that hit 2 months ago. So definitely it's out there. Jury, yeah, we have coaching now that we offer. So yes, we do have coaching out there. If you want that we can, again, if you're willing to pay for it, I mean, we can do it. I have a team of people that work with me that support it, and we can, yeah, sure, we'll be happy to support it. Oh, there it is. U.S. citizens and clearances for, again, that's IT. So, oh, and what she says, you got your hands on the keyboards, U.S. citizens and clearances. Love it. Make sure if you just join us, hit the thumbs up on whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, please, 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 so that we can share this information. I'm entering contract space with transportation. Will it be difficult to get into areas of construction such as IT? Quan, we mentioned this earlier today. Definitely, I always tell people um, stick to one, area. It's so difficult right now. It's so difficult. Just the government is huge. They're humongous. And even if you look at Tam Reed, she mentioned earlier about doing DevSecOps and this IT stuff. It's just uh, one of my podcast guests. There, you know, for IT is a different animal than logistics. They're different contracting people, different program managers, different programs, different vehicles, different budgets, different ways that they buy. They're two fundamentally different arenas, completely different. And for anyone to try to comprehend and have that the level of detail and knowledge to be able to penetrate that marketplace is extraordinarily difficult. You have to be almost a savant, and I don't say this in terms lightly. You have to literally be a savant to really to be able to dive into two totally uh, mutually exclusive arenas at the same time. I mean, they could be more diametrically opposed than logistics and IT, especially if you're doing cyber. I just again, I think that it's really um, no one's going to respect you and look up to you if you're a small guy starting out and saying you do IT and you do logistics. They're going to take you for a joke because the moment they start spitting out acronyms, and I'm sure Tam Reed could rattle off a bunch of acronyms in this post, and she probably will because I'm asking her to. Once they start spitting off a bunch of acronyms and you don't know what they mean, you're gonna be like cold turkey, and they're gonna really figure out really quickly that you're not the one. So, in fact, if you want to test yourself, Quan, to see how much you know about IT, take a look at my last YouTube live. Matter of fact, I'll drop it in here for you. Take a look at my last YouTube live and see if you understand any of the stuff this guy is talking about. And if you do, then maybe you could give it a shot. But chances are, I would take that bet that you don't. So definitely, I would say both. You could be successful at one of the spaces, and then as you start to build up your capabilities, go into the second one. But I frown upon that. Do you still? So this is a good question. So now what we do is yes, 2.0, we do still have lifetime access to all the tools. However, 2.0 is now built on an annual basis. So it's an annual subscription basis. So as long as you continue to subscribe, you will have all of the upgrades included as we add more content, as we continue to have calls with experts. All of that stuff will be at no additional charges to you. So yes, that will happen. Julie says the company name is Long Capture. I'm gonna go ahead and put my man Quazir out there. He said, "Does any students in Michigan interested in subcontracting? I'm a small cleaning business trying to get my foot in the door of government contracting." And again, if you're a small cleaning business trying to get your foot in the door, then you should be talking to successful companies that are already out there winning these types of contracts that you want to do. That would be the first step: is subcontract. Go online and find out who recently won contracts that are in your area. And then instead of putting it in the chat here, put it out there to the folks and let them know what you can offer them in terms of services, product, price, delivery, and things like that. And I'm sure Quasir people will give you a shot. We're always looking for good people to be able to come in and add value. Yes, you do receive a certificate after the completion of the courses. Yes. Is it frowned upon to change your NAICS code if you start with one? No, it's not frowned upon to change your NAICS codes. In fact, no one ever actually knows that you change your NAICS codes. However, I will say this, B, if you decide to change your NAICS code, and then afterwards you decide to register for a social economic set aside, then at that point it may be frowned upon, depending upon who's reviewing it, when changing your NAICS code. Because I've heard of instances, and particularly this is with SBA 8A programs, that they want you to have experience in that NAICS code for a certain length of time. And so if you decide to then change your NAICS code a year later, and then because your business is doing well, you start winning contracts, you get 8A, at that point, it may hurt you a little bit, depending upon who your BOS is and your SBA rep. But typically, no one cares. They don't even notice. So, fine. The government do any contracts dealing in diamonds or jewelries? So, my most famous video is "Does the government buy what I sell?" It's also in our free course, and it's a way that you can actually look it up yourself and figure out whether or not the government buys the services. I don't know that if the government buys diamonds or jewelries because I've never looked that up. So I would encourage you to figure out what is the proper PSC code, product service code, or the NAICS code that covers diamonds or jewelry, and then you could do the research in FPDS or on USA Spending and figure that out yourself. And here's Tam putting in all of the words that a man wants to go into IT: zero trust, observability, Tanzu, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, IAC, cloud security, IaaS, PS, and a new one brewing, Sky Computing. There you go. So if you know that stuff, then I would say yes, you can go into IT. If you don't, maybe stick to transportation. Good stuff, Sean. Congratulations on that. Great stuff. The new SAM switched up. It has a different look. How do you navigate this new look? I've updated profile to add capability statement. Your audiobook is awesome. Your capability are too. Excellent. Yes, the new SAM, they switched up the look. But again, SAM is always changing up the look. In terms of adding your capability statement on your SBA profile, that is the same look as always. So you can add all of the information from your capability statement on your SBA profile. That has not changed. Even though SAM has changed, they merged SAM with beta.sam, and it's all in one now. But yes, putting your capability statement on is the same place and the information that goes there. My man Sean says, I decided to start my own company after watching your GovCon videos, Lotus Dynamic, and I just won our first contract. Congratulations, Sean. Good stuff. I love it. I love it. And some people can do that. Some people from our free content can go out and win opportunities. We do give out the information. I think a lot of people, what I've noticed, and I will say this, and I will say this, and I will say this, is people watch. I'm telling you because I have the statistics. People watch 2 minutes of the video, 5 minutes of the video, 6 minutes of the video, and it's a 45-minute video. And then they go off and they say, well, I know how to do government contract. I watched all your videos. 2 minutes of that video. What if the key thing that I said was at the end of the video? That's just really, what I find is that folks are watching this much of the information, and then their takeaways, like for example, doing the market research. That's, you know, a 20-minute video. If you watch 3 minutes, you didn't understand the whole content of the video, and you don't really know what I said at the end. That might have been that nugget that you're missing to go from actual information to practitioner. So where do I go about finding contracts in military based in Africa? Again, go back and do your research, figure out who's issuing contracts in Africa. And then from that, I always tell everyone this, my answer is always the same. Go backwards. Find out from your research who's actually been issuing contracts in Africa. And based on that research, you can ask them how to, under what vehicles, under what procurement means do they issue those contracts. All of what I teach starts off with research. We're strategic. You have to be strategic. This isn't throw it all up in the air and see what sticks. This is laser beam focused strategy, and you have to be strategic. So you can't just, even if there's one website that you found that posted contracts in Africa, let's say the Department of State, that might not be the only place. You may find 10 sources where you can go out to research contracts in Africa. So, but again, it all starts with doing your research. Clamshell Lake Paving Project for Corps of Engineers. Oh, Sean, I know who you are. I think you sent Maria a message. Yes, the paving guy. I think that you are, right? Aren't you the guy that sent Maria the message, Sean? Ah, yeah, see, that is you. You see? I see your comment at the bottom. Yes, Maria might be on the podcast till I learn from you. Yep. You see what Sean says? I watched hours and hours of the videos all the way through. That's the difference. Remember, if you've been on here since I first started this today's live broadcast, I said, if you're doing something, I know about you because you're asking for help. Do you notice how I know Tam Reed's name? Did you notice how I notice Aquilene Lee's name? Do you notice how Sean, who said he won a contract, now when he told me what it's for paving, and I said, oh, I know you sent Maria a message. Why? Because he reached out. That's why. Because if you're doing something, you're letting me know because you're asking for assistance. Now, Sean won that contract and he needs some additional assistance. And Maria reached out to me. I then gave the information to Maria, who then passed it along to Sean. And so Sean was actually smart because if he sent me the message, I probably would never got it. So he was smart to go through Maria because she probably gets 10% of the messages that I receive. So that was pretty genius, Sean, to send it to Maria instead of me because I probably would have never seen it. Used to be a union laborer and want to utilize them for manpower. Do you recommend? Yeah, I use union labor all the time. We used, in fact, up in Rhode Island in the Northeast, where we're working in Boston and we're working in Newport Naval. I'm working in New London, Groton, Connecticut. I use union laborers all the time. Our carpenters unions, we use all the time. So, yeah, that's a great strategy. In fact, the reason why I like it is because you can actually take, and with union labor, it's easier for you to scale up people, right? Manpower. So I actually think that union labor is a great strategy. All right, Antonio, what's your pricing for one-on-one coaching? So we have actual coaching plans, and our coaching plans are on our website, govconjoint.com/coaching. In fact, let me see if I can pull it up. All right. So here I'm going to drop it in the chat. There's our coaching plans that we have currently now. And interesting enough, and I'm glad you brought this up, Antonio Freeman. We actually have five coaches at this moment. But something happened. All right, but what's interesting that I like about Antonio asking this question is that in terms of the one-on-one coaching, Okay. All right. Thanks. I see that. In terms of coaching, one of the things I will say is if you have a consultant client or if you work for a company, I always say, why don't you recommend that they pay for the course, they pay for the coaching on your behalf. It's like Jeree said earlier, she has more money than she has time. Why not have someone like that pay for your education so that you can learn how to do this stuff? And that way you get the knowledge. Everyone knows knowledge is power. So let someone else who has more money, more resources, who is interested in doing this, let them pay for it to support you. One of our students, Mo, he did that. His company actually paid for him to take our trainings. He learned the trainings, and then he started to become really successful. So successful that his company didn't pay him all his full commissions, and he was an employee, right? Because they say he didn't deserve it. So he left the company, went out, did it on his own. Now he's running his own business and his own organization. And so again, but they can't take away that knowledge that he then has. So if you're considering this and you're considering consultant or you're working with someone, let's say it's your cousin or your friend or somebody who you're trying to help get into this business, let them pay for it. Have that, to me, it lets them show their commitment on how serious they are and really wanting to get this done. And maybe that's even a strategy to get them to do it in the first, like to get someone to help you to pay for this. It's like, hey, I'm interested in learning how to do government contracts. I'm willing to help you with the knowledge that I gained from taking this course. If you were willing to pay for the course for me to do it, the information I learned, I'm going to actually do the steps, do the techniques. I'm going to use that to help your business, right? With the information and the knowledge that I learned. So that's something that I've seen work time and time again, especially people who are working at companies and organizations. I've seen it. It just makes sense for me. I'm in your text community. Last text I received asked for a number so I could be called. I have iPhone. Don't know if you guys call or not. Because I saw that in there. And again, I don't know because we have that text community. Several people can respond to it. So if you did drop your number in there, then Erica will reach out to you. Is it true that you have to renew your SAM every couple of years? Yes, that's true. You do have to renew your SAM registration every so often. I don't know how often, but you do have to renew it every so often. Yes. By the way, make sure to give us a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Eric, I'm using the VA program. I learned that from you last video. Thank you, Antonio Freeman. I'm so happy that you did that because I tell people I give out free game all the time. If you watch the videos, if you watch it till the end, stay till the end. These, like Maria, literally, and somebody was talking about grants today. Maria applied for one of those programs, and she got a grant that is she doesn't have to pay back, and it was $5,000 that she doesn't have to pay back. We continue to share things that we learn from people that are in our communities, and we give it out freely to folks who are interested in taking advantage of these programs. I want you to get all the free money and free resources that exist because I want you to save your money for when you really need a mentor, when you really need, like Antonio, coaching, when you really have a problem that you need help execution on. That's when it's time to spend your money, pull out your checkbook. But for all this other stuff, I want you to save your money when you really need it to invest. Because again, it doesn't do me any good if you go out there and you waste $2,000 or $3,000 on this, $2,000 or $3,000 on that, and then you come to me and want me to help you for free. That don't do me no good. So again, I give you all the free resources I could possibly give you throughout the videos and my books, all my lessons. And in fact, here, all of these websites. This book is $10. $10. $10. I've got 100 or so places that you can go out to start doing all this stuff. $10. Okay. My other book up here, I think it's $12. GovCon Launch. $12. So for $22, here you go. That's it. $22. bunch of free websites to go to learn how to do all this stuff. This is the things that I went through step by step and everything I did. I tell people it's here. The information is there. I'm not trying to hold anything back. For $10, really, the price of McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, like, I mean, it's $10. Again, I don't make any money off of this stuff. Listen, I have that book on Amazon. You know, Jeff Bezos ain't coming off them billions to come let little Eric make some money. Y'all already know what Jeff Bezos said. Look, thank y'all for sending me to the moon or sending me to space, right? I thank all the people in Amazon for sending me to space. So Amazon is giving me a little bit of cut. Hold on, let me show you how big my cut is from Amazon. I'm gonna show you. That's how much Amazon give me out the book. I don't even know if it's that much. It might be. And more like this. This is what I get. Amazon get the rest. So Jeff Bezos ain't letting nobody make no money. So I'm not making money. Don't think I'm getting rich off a book. I think I make $300 a month. That don't even cover my light bill. So trust me, it's not about making money. It's giving people the resource and information, and having them pay a little bit of something for at least for the cost of me the printing, and at least what it cost me to do the design. I mean, hell, the design of this book cost a couple $1,000. So y'all know Jeff Bezos ain't come off that money. Don't even play. All right, what else we got out here? What else? What else? What else? All right. Truck driver, learn government contract business with a cargo van, would you suggest? Okay, buy the books. Yep. Buy the books, watch the YouTube videos. So, that's the best thing I'll do. Because again, when someone has a cargo van, I don't know if the course would necessarily be for you because you just have a cargo van. And really, the truth is, I promise you, I don't want to take anybody's money who I can't help, service, support in any kind of way. So the government really, folks out there are looking for people who want to come on and create real businesses, real industries, and make a difference. They want folks to come out here and do millions of dollars in business. That's really what they're looking for. So if your intention is to have just a cargo van and that's where you're going to stay at, then I don't think that federal contracting is right for you. Now, if your intention is to have a fleet of cargo vans, then buy my program. So it just depends on really what your intention is, not where you're at. It's where you want to go. And that's the way I look at all of you out here who are watching our content. It's not about where you're at now, because we all start off with nothing, because I know what everyone looks like. And I know we all grew up on the other side of the track. So given that most of us on this call grew up on this side of the track, we all start off with nothing. So again, it's about where you want to go, not where you're at. And based on your question, you're telling me where you're at, not where you're headed. And so that's why I kind of gave you that answer in that manner. Yeah, Queen Lee, listen, this is my personality. I tell people the truth, because people be out here like really trying to like talking about like $12 is gonna kill them, but they stand in line for the new Jeezys, or Yeezys, whatever you call them, Yeezys, Jeezys, whatever. But they act like my $12 is gonna kill them, but they could go get Beyonce new Adidas fit when she put it out, or Rihanna's lipstick or perfume as that comes out. But my $12 is gonna hurt somebody. So yeah, I'm telling y'all, because that's the truth. This is what I have to deal with. This foolishness that people be telling me when I'm trying to change their life or change their future, so they could go to dinner with Rihanna and Beyonce and Jay, all these people, instead of sitting around and just watching them on TV. Yes, I said it. So, all right, what else? Because we gotta answer some questions. Y'all got me here sweating now. I had someone ask me if they could bid for contracts without a permanent residence card within the United States. I wasn't sure. We just talked about that. It has nothing to do with residence card. We've said it 3 times. It doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not. The government is buying from companies. What do people not understand? This ain't voting. There is no citizenship test on companies for contracts. They're buying from corporations. That's why you have to incorporate and not be a DBA. They're buying from businesses. When they buy from a business, they don't check your immigration status. You could be an illegal immigrant and still do contracts because they're buying from your business. If your state lets you set up a business, that's who they're buying from. My personal name, it doesn't matter. My immigration status has nothing to do with my corporation. Now, I would not recommend you go on the military base and try to get a badge if you're illegal, but send people that are legal in there under your company name and that you're fine. So it has nothing to do with whether or not you're a citizen or not. Your corporation is what's doing the business with the government, not you, the person or the individual. Does everyone understand that? Please, this is such an important topic because people I think we're forgetting like common sense stuff. So it's like, again, and by the way, I'm telling you, I had people who went to, I'm just telling you, look, nobody here because y'all ain't that silly, but I've had people go to the bases, truck drivers, and had outstanding child support. Please don't do that because you might be a legal citizen, but you got outstanding child support or you got a warrant. Don't go to the military base dropping no products off. Please don't. Don't do that. Just some words of wisdom. I'm saving y'all right now. Please, words of wisdom from Eric Coffie, GovCon Eric. Do not go to the base if you got outstanding child support or warrants for your arrest, anything like that. Don't drive to that military base. Don't try to bring them no products. Tell your boss you can't make that order. Don't make that delivery. But again, they're buying from corporations. They're not buying from people. Are you still doing bidding on IT contracts? Is a good resource for white label products of various types? I don't understand the question about white label projects. Govt is pushing the vet 100K companies in the supply chain. Tam, you got to tell me more about this. Oh, Tam, I like that picture of you. You got to tell me more, Tam. Good night, Jerome. That's right. Eric, is it true that you can't get a government contract until you've been in business for 2 years? Absolutely not. That's a false. That is a myth. We have people that, again, the government, that's not true. I'm going to say it that way. No, that's not true. You do not have to be in business for 2 years. I don't know where you got that information from. I just told you, and I just stated that my guest left her job and started her business and started winning contracts. What the person is referring to is there are certain certifications that you do not qualify for in order to, unless you're within business of 2 years. But that has nothing to do with contracts. That's for a particular type of set aside or certification. However, those certifications are only in the single digit percentages of all contracts. So 86% of all contracts have no certifications associated that socioeconomic designations attached to them. 86%, which means that's open for any and all people. So you, without having that particular socioeconomic designation stylo, you qualify for 86% of all opportunities with the federal government. I think that's pretty much everything. Should I change my ammunition NAICS code if there's a national ammunition storage? No one can find ammunition within the USA. Well, Lewis, you could change your ammunition NAICS code if there's a shortage, but I guess are you saying that because they can't find ammunition that you won't be able to sell ammunition? Is that really your question? I'm not really sure. Is that what you're saying, Lewis? Is that because they're make sure, by the way, everybody give me a thumbs up if you haven't already done so. Are you saying that you're going to do something different? I'm not really sure what the question is because even though there's an ammunition shortage, there are still people providing ammunition because the government, we're United States of America, which is the largest military industrial complex in the whole world. So we've got to have ammunition because that's how we protect America. So I know that the government's still buying ammunition. Whether or not you can find it and provide it to them is another story. But I know for a fact that they're still buying ammunition each and every day because I do have one of our students whose brother makes components for bombs. And a lot of the same components that go in ammunition are same components that go into the stuff that he makes as well and manufacturers. So while there is a shortage, there's still a need. And the need has to be fulfilled, regardless of the fact that whether it takes 2 months or 3 months extra, the need still has to be filled because the United States has an insatiable appetite for ammunitions, and weapons systems. That's why we call it military industrial complex. Thoughts on going to site visit with potential subcontractors for them to give you an estimate, and then you as a prime add profit margin on top, not on a price construction project. We do it all the time. Every time we go, I don't think there's another way to do it. In fact, if you are bidding a construction project and you don't take your subs and you try to get a price, you are putting yourself at great danger, at a detriment of potentially losing money on that project. So, in fact, not only is it thought encouraged, I would almost say to the point where if you do not do that, you almost have to write up your whatever agreements that you have with them to protect your interest. You've got to probably add some additional margins on top to make sure for any deficiencies or anything that was missed that they didn't cover. Because again, if they didn't see it, then they could always come back to you and say, Bazooka, that, hey, I didn't see that because I didn't go to the walkthrough, and you can't see it based on the drawing. So they're likely to squirm out of honoring their price if they fail to go to the site visit. So I definitely highly recommend it. Highly recommend and encourage. And in fact, if they don't go, I might just not even bid the project. Just me personally. Just came across your info this past week. It's been great. So happens my mother, aunt retired from duty procurement, writing proposals, studied FAR text, and I hope to join course. Awesome. If your mom and your aunt retired from DoD procurement, writing proposals, then you already have a head start. So that's good stuff. Jamal Lee, I want to start as a consultant. My therapist is interested in providing counseling services. Do you know of a market that would be able to make that work? Counseling services is needed. I do know, Jamal, because remember, think about this. All of the veterans coming back from war, PTSD, right? We have a huge, even with COVID, right? There's a huge crisis happening in the United States for people who are suffering from anxiety and depression and mental health illnesses as a result of the pandemics, as a result of all these natural disasters, as a result from hurricanes and earthquakes. And think about New York and the flood. All of those things trigger people's anxieties. And so mental health and counseling services is on the rise, particularly in everywhere USA where the government has hospitals, clinics, installations. That is something that, in fact, one of my podcast guests, you can look her up, Roberta Moore. I'll grab her info. That's an area where she worked at, was in providing healthcare services. Hold on, let me grab it for you. An area that she worked in, Jamal, is in providing the healthcare type services, doctors and nurses and staffing those kind of people. And she did it. She was based in the U.S., but she provided them overseas at military bases that we were supporting overseas. So great question. All right. Stylo, I just got to this live stream 2.0. So 2.0, you have until the end of October to continue to buy 2.0. So you're fine. 1.0 ends in 3 days, but 2.0. And by the way, yes, just for anyone who's thinking, if you buy the 1.0 before it ends and you need to upgrade to 2.0, I'll just charge you the difference. So the 1.0 is $597, 2.0 is $497. You pay the $400 difference and we'll upgrade you. So just if anybody's wondering that, yes, you can upgrade to 2.0 after the fact. So we don't mind. We'll just charge you the difference. Was Maria rescued from the kidnapping clown? So apparently they didn't like the clown, Stylo. A lot of people respond. I got a lot of bad emails and messages of people saying that I was destroying my channel and providing all this content and taking it away with booty shaking and whatever they call it. I forgot the word. Putting a clown up there. So a lot of people didn't really like the clown. So I don't think it went over well. But I love the creativeness that my son did in putting it together. I just think it was a little harsh. But again, I didn't want to stop his creative juices, so I let Brandon freely do that because, one of the things that I have found, Stylo, is that while I do give all this great content and I put all this information out, my packaging is obviously not great because there are people out here who say, this is how you do government contracting 101, and all they do is tell you about Sam and Duns and Cage, and they get 100,000 views. I tell you all of these strategies and I get 1,000 views or 100 views or 500 views. So what I realize is that I have to do a better job of packaging my material so that people can actually get to the meat and potatoes and the content and really get some actionable steps happening. So that's why I'm allowing him to explore it, because believe it or not, the silly stuff is working on IG, and we've increased our followers on IG like triple than what we've done over the last 6 months since he got started. So, all right, what else? What are some ways to go about securing contracts from the U.S. My companies in Canada? Again, it doesn't matter what your company is based out of. That's irrelevant, because um, we we buy goods and services. In fact, if you watch the video, Wesley, the 16-year-old, how does a 16-year-old provide contracts to the government? Why? Because they don't ask his age. They're not asking you, are you in Canada? So what does it matter? If you set up a corporation, you're in Canada. Let's say you set up your corporation in New York, or you set up in Maine, or you set up a corporate. Like, why does that matter? The research and everything, all the tools that you're looking at are online. So that doesn't make a difference. But I would say if I were in Canada, I would be looking at opportunities in Canada, because if you're studying from me and you're learning this stuff, you have the unique advantage of actually going after and having like that expertise. And you're not, now you're competing with companies that don't necessarily have all the training and the tools that you're learning as much so as someone who's in the United States. So we have a lot more training and tools and resources available as citizens than you would as a Canadian. But you could still take and learn this information and then really capitalize, because why? You are in Canada. And in fact, Judy Bratt, if you watch any of my podcasts, I don't see her book, I'm looking for it. I don't see it in my within arm's reach. Judy Bratt is actually based out of Canada. So if you remember Judy Bratt, she's based out of Canada. Any booming NAICS skills that anyone can do and get started? Yeah, we discussed that earlier. Really, I think that just chasing NAICS codes is a really ineffective strategy. And like we said, and if you're just coming on, out of the 75,000 small businesses that are eligible to do government contracting, 2/3 will never get a contract. So 67% of you ultimately will never get a contract. And part of that is chasing the shiny object syndrome. So instead of focusing on their strengths or areas of expertise, or people that they know have expertise in certain areas, they chase shiny objects. But unfortunately, the contracts and the money that's the biggest and the largest also have the biggest and baddest competitors that have the most money and the most resources, and everybody's attacking those areas. Again, another nugget I will drop you, because you guys have stayed on for an hour and 47 minutes with me. One of my guests said to me that she's in West Virginia, and one of the things that she learned was that, hey, West Virginia, if you guys know, is west of Virginia. Virginia is where all the government contractors, supposedly gurus, are at. The problem with Virginia and DC is there are hundreds of small businesses that are trying to work with the SBA. And so the ratio, like teacher to student ratio, may be 60, 70 to 1. If you go across to West Virginia and you're a small business working with the SBA, the ratio is 8 to 1. So that their SBA reps can actually respond and get back to you in 30 minutes, an hour, and also to support you in winning contract opportunities. So again, as opposed to looking at the money, why not look at where there's more opportunity and less competition? That's what I would call a booming NAICS code, as opposed to booming in terms of dollars and cents. Yep, I just said that if you get 1.0, can you still upgrade to 2.0 after October 31st? Ooh, Antoine, that's a good one. I like that. That's a good question. Um, if you get 1.0, yes, you can still upgrade to 2.0 after October 31st, because you will be well, hold on. Let me think about that. I haven't thought about that one. My immediate answer would say yes. Yes, I'm going to say yes, because if as long as you're registered and enrolled in one of our programs, I'll let you upgrade. So yes, you're good. As an owner operator truck driver, it'd be good to get a broker's license, so that when you land a government contract, you'll be a broker out loads of contract. Errol, I can't tell you that because I don't know your business well enough. I can say if you send an email to service@govcongiants.com, there is someone, Sharon from World Girl One Truck, that I would encourage you to talk to, and she could probably better answer that question. I don't know your business to that level of expertise to make that recommendation. Robert said, "What? Who don't like the clown?" Yeah, a lot of people don't like that clown. I'm sorry. I don't know. I think because I was so serious, like my content was always so serious. But to me, also me being so serious on my content is why I don't get all of the views and a lot because I'm not controversial. So you may see some more controversial type content come out where I might start clowning some other people who pretend to be GovCon gurus. So I don't like that where there's some sort of like something polarizing. And I was just straight giving content and information. So my man said that clown caught my attention. No, Antoine, I love the clown. I thought the clown was hilarious. I mean, it made me laugh. But some people just, yeah, I think Robert, I mean, I don't know. I think people like, they just different. Yeah, people like different stuff. How many hours do you dedicate your business now? How many people do you have running construction company? So Angel, I don't do my construction company anymore. What I do is I partner with a construction company. They pay me to consult with them and to help them win contracts. And so we have a full staff working to support that. I have, but because I don't deal with all the staff, we now have layers of staff. So the people that report to me are project managers. And so I deal with the project managers who do all my estimating, and they're the ones that handle my projects from start to finish. And then, so they're the ones that then get a chance to choose who they want to be the superintendent and manage the contracts and manage the jobs. So, for example, one of my project managers today was at a kickoff meeting for the Bunker Hill Monument that we just started. If anybody up in Boston, if you've seen that Bunker Hill Monument, we're actually just starting that project. We're going to go around there and redo all the fencing. And so I noticed that there was 3 other employees that were on that call, on that kickoff meeting. So, but again, I don't deal with that. So I just deal more at the managerial level at this point now, Angel. How many hours do we work on this? It's depending upon the season, right? So right now, we've been putting in, I probably put in about 20 hours a week at this point now. About 20 hours a week. The 16-year-old was successful because he used his brain to think it through and came across as sharp. That's very true. Correct. I'm a service able veteran. Got your 1.0 course. I'd like to try contract as a different career choice. I'm hoping your content help me get there. Excellent. Definitely. Hey, look, if anything else, you're going to learn something. And one thing that I will say that this has happened. I've had people that took my course and they never won a federal contract, right? You say, well, that's not successful. Well, the guy doubled his income. I think that's pretty successful to me. For $600 to double your income. So if you're at 40,000 a year, now you go to 80. I think $600 is worth it. I'm just saying. So for me, that's the way that I look at this. I've had another student that, and again, you go to my IG, you'll see it in my reel. She decided that federal wasn't for her, but she used some of the things she learned to pick up state and local contracts. Is that worth it? Sure, why not? So one of the things also that I want to share that I think that people sometimes we don't realize, or maybe we forget, any organization that you want to be a part of, any organization you want to be a part of, where is it at? Where are they at? They all have fees associated with them. Let me see if I can share my screen. All right. So for example, let me just, share this. This is the National 8A Association, right? So again, if you got 8A, I would recommend you join the National 8A Association. Well, to join the National 8A Association, membership is $350 a year for 2021, $350 2022, to join the National 8A Association. Now, let's say you go out and get HubZone, right? Well, membership to join HubZone application, if you are 0 to 3 million sales, $395, 3 to 6 million, $595, and so up $1,000, and it goes up $1195. So if you want to join the U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce, right? $200 renews annually, or supplier membership, $400 renews annually. So it doesn't matter where you decide that you want to go and who you want to work with. We have to be able to support bringing on speakers. By the way, thank you, Tam Reed, for that. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the love as well. Thank you for that. Um, I really do appreciate it. And so, what I want people to understand is that this is your business. You have to make an investment in your business. What do they say? If you want your business to pay you like a business, you got to treat it like a business, which means reinvesting your money back in. And for me to be able to bring on speakers, for me to be able to bring on coaches, for me to be able to bring on trainers to train folks, I got to compensate these people. I mean, there's a lot of people that like me out there, but they don't like me that much. So just something I definitely want to share and with folks out there. Free says, I like the clown. I like the dancing. Felt it was fun. Yeah, Free. I thought it was fun too, and I think we'll I think it was just rough. I think for him it was rough in the beginning. So see, you love Judy, layers and players, 5 government personalities you didn't know. Yeah, that's Judy Bratt. I think again, people don't realize Judy Bratt to go on webinars. You pay $150 for a webinar with Judy Bratt. I brought her on here 5 times for free. I didn't charge anyone anything. I didn't put her behind a paywall. I freely gave the information out because that's my heart. That's what I feel like. What's your experience in dealing with subs in construction? Um, the good thing about having subs in construction is if they don't do what they say, then you don't pay them and they have to deliver. But at the same token, you got to be careful. And one of the things, Antonio, that we discuss, uh, and it's funny that you say that. It's not widely watched, but how to choose a subcontractor. I went through that and made that video because it's such a okay. A lot of folks watching right now, they're only thinking about getting that contract. I'm thinking, Antonio, about fulfilling the contract. That's the difference. I can already see you, Stylo, getting the contract. I can already see Freehall winning a contract. I can already see Lake and Lincoln winning a contract. I can already see the original 13 winning a contract. I can already see Antoine winning a contract. I can see Aqua Lee winning a contract. What I don't know about is how well they're going to be able to fulfill that contract and deliver. That's where I don't know. I can see all of the people on here getting a contract. I don't know how well they're going to be able to deliver, perform, and fulfill it. And so I think we all missed that point of, are you procurement ready? Meaning that if I were to give you a contract today, could you do it? Do you have people, money, credit, supplier credit, vendors? Can you perform? Can you execute if I place an order with you today? And that's a question you got to ask yourself. And so very great question here, Antonio. I want people to understand is, yes, we want to make sure that you're procurement ready. And that's what we try to do, because that's why the first thing I say is get yourself some vendor credit, get supplier credit, get that in advance of trying to pursue a contract, because I want to make sure that you're procurement ready. I want to make sure I say, look, go out and talk to partners and subcontractors now before you get a contract. Why? Because you're going to need these people to execute if and when you win a contract. And so my experience in dealing with subs is that you got to be careful who you pick. And you got to be very selective and make sure they can actually execute and perform, not just the cheapest guy. I have picked more expensive subcontractors because they let me sleep at night. I have picked a guy, I say guy loosely. I picked a company or entity that was 40% more expensive. And I've even recommended to Maria, because this company is a $10 million a year company, as opposed to the guy out the back of the pickup truck. So if I see somebody, if I got a sub and he pulls up in a pickup truck, right, and the bumper is falling off, and you can hear it kicking, and you see smoke coming out the tailpipe, he not working for me. I'm gonna tell him to go home and drive back. And I ain't no knock on him and his truck, but if he's not showing up professional and his people not wearing uniforms, those are all red flags. I can't have them on my government contract and job. And I'm going to piggyback this on something else. I have a contracting officer right now who texts me this message. Okay. I'm not going to post a message. I want you to try to zoom into it. Okay. And this was someone that I recommended to do some work for them personally. And you know what they said? That person could never work for me in the government contracting sector because they don't do professional quality work. And so I'm saying to you to say, I say that to say this. Um, the kind of people that are home remodelers, the kind of people that are handyman, they may be good for working at your grandma house and your auntie them house and the properties that, people are not very critical, but the government is, they're going to go through it with a fine tooth comb. And I just would be very cautious and let the people know that. And that's the expectation. And then once you set those ground rules, then if they can do it, they can do it. If they're not, they can't. And then also there's a lot of paperwork. If they can't do paperwork, they probably can't do this. They're not going to be able to support you. So, yep. I'm looking on solicitation Sam setting request role access get control attachment documents. How do you get past this step? I've seen where it says request role access. And they've let me download the forms anyways. So try to download it even if it says request access. If it still doesn't let you download it, then on the previous FBO, you just have to prove that you've got your registered in SAM in order to get access control documents. But there may be, if it's IT or something else, there may be one other step that you have to go through. But all of that information should be there to tell you what that step is and what you have to do to qualify. Can you briefly speak about the benefits of PTACs? SAP. So PTACs are procurement technical assistance centers. They're all over the country. They're in every city, major city in the United States, and they help you for free to get started in your business. And so something I recommend to people, I've got a video, 12 questions to ask your PTAC. Definitely, I recommend for everyone to start off with the PTAC first. Great place to start. Hold on. In fact, I've got 2 videos on it. No, I've got 3. So I have one that's free government service for minority businesses, PTACs, and I have an interview with a PTAC person, which is episode 82 of my podcast. And then I have 12. Here it is, 12 questions to ask your PTAC. So I actually have several videos already on the subject of PTAC that you can look at on my video channel that will give you any and all things that you need. How do you write past performance letter? So typically there's no such thing as a past performance letter. There's usually past performance questionnaires and CPARS ratings. So again, I think that doing a little bit more, spending a little bit more time with the content, watching some videos and looking at, you will learn, and even going through some of the solicitations and seeing what some of the requirements, that would be my recommendations for you, is pull down some RFPs and look at the lingo that the government's using so that you don't say things that don't line up with the way that they're buying it. Because again, I've never seen them say past performance letter. I've only seen them ask for past performance questionnaires. And again, I could be wrong, but make sure that whatever industry that you're in or the type of services you're trying to provide, pull down some RFPs, look at the requirements, and see what they call for, and then go from there. All right, Antoine, be good. Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Tam, for the culture and some snacks. I appreciate you for the culture and yes, some snacks. I can get I got some snacks in mind. I'm not gonna say it here, but yes, I get some good snacks with that, Tam. Have you been involved with NATO, UN contracts, Bazooka? Yes, I have looked at UN contracts, but nothing with NATO, no. Which video covers NAICS codes and how to know which ones to go for from a financial standpoint? Yeah, from a financial standpoint, it's the video on um, choosing the right DUNS number. Just personally put on. Good job, Quan. Good stuff. Look forward to seeing you on Tuesday's calls. Judy's dope. Yes, she is. This one is the video on choosing the right DUNS number, Robert. But really, it's just based on. It's still again, it's choosing a dumb number based on your what you know. But for example, when it comes to like say construction, right, as opposed to doing 238 specialty trade construction, which will limit you to say 16 or 18 million, you do 236, which is general construction, and now you're at 34 million potential. So it's the Dunce number video that you're looking for. Yes, very good answer, Lakin. I see you winning and delivering. Folks, pay attention. Winning is one thing, delivering is number two. So definitely look at that. You can execute. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's do it. Yes, all you guys are named. Amen. Delivering content, most important aspect to me. Yes, that's correct. And if you have that attitude and you carry that and you drill that into your team, you're going to be really successful. Excellent. There you go. Deliver, perform, execute. They're going to love you. I'm telling you, these people are going to love y'all. All right, Lewis. I love the truth. I love the honesty. What's holding me back is not the great information. Is the fear of failure. I'm tired of calling and getting rejected for my age experience. Any advice on how to get past that? So, excuse me. I don't understand how you're getting rejected for your age and experience, because when Wesley was able to call and talk to people, he said they never asked him his age. So when do people ask your age, Lewis? I've never had any government person on the telephone ask me my age. Never. Not once. I've never had a supplier on a credit application, on a supplier application, on a vendor application, on a membership. I've never seen age asked anywhere, not in an email, not on a phone call. So I'm not sure, Lewis, what you're talking about. This sounds like to me mental roadblocks that you're putting up for yourself. Because if Lewis, tell me how old you are. Tell me how old you are. Put it in the chat. What's your age? Because if Wesley did it at 16, and I have a student of mine, Gerard, that did it at 24, and Mebs was, before he went to Africa, was one of our other resource specialists. Mebs did it at 23. Lewis, I want to see. You better show me. Tell me what age you are. I want to know. All right, I'll come back to you. Antonio 1.0 did help me learn research market and who's buying. It's a great investment. Get classes. $600. I don't look. I just want to. Honestly, the only reason that I'm even doing this for the $600, honestly, is really I want to have a clean conscience. When I go to my $8,000 program, you don't understand. There's people out here that want me to do this $8,000 program, and they want me to abandon everyone else. And I just said I can't do that because that's not the kind of person I am. But they're like, Eric, if you sell 10 $8,000 programs, that's $80,000 a month. I'm like, yeah, I know. And he goes, you actually are at the 25K level. I said, yeah, okay. So I just want to have a clear conscience and know that I did right by the bulk of people and I gave everyone a chance. So again, that's just me. That's just me as an individual. Me being raised up in a Christian home and a Christian background, and my mom always saying it's better to give than receive. So again, I really, if my payroll to run this is $20,000 a month. That's what it cost me. It cost me $20,000 a month. Yes, you see me. There's a whole bunch of people behind me, a whole bunch of software, a whole bunch of tools, a whole bunch of everything that's behind us, that's powering all the things that we do. I'm spending $20,000 a month. So I just don't want to keep paying $20K a month for people, right? So I can't continue to give away for free of my time and my energy and my effort, because it's taken away from me and my family and all the things that we got to do. I could be, look, for $20,000 a month, there's a lot of places I could live, a lot of things I could do other than being out here with you guys. So I just want to be able to support the team that's behind all this stuff and be able to continue providing value to folks and not letting it deteriorate. And so that's what I'm saying. Lewis, where's your age at? I'm still looking for my man Lewis to put his age in there. I'm still looking for my Lewis to put his age in there. Lewis, where's your age at? And by the way, Lewis, if you're in our programs, we have a guy, Colin. He's in our group. And Colin, in fact, if anyone signs up now and you go to the 2021 membership calls, if you go back a couple calls, Colin actually was on one of our calls. And going back to what you said, AS, is that he said he was with me for 2 years. 2 years. And he was emailing folks, emailing contracting people, emailing government people. And I said, Colin, you got to call people. You can't just keep emailing. You got to call. And he said, you know what, Eric, I'm gonna try it. And within 2 weeks of calling, he picked up his first contract. And then that first eh, contract was a micro purchase. It was just a test to see if he could to fulfill the requirements. And from that, they gave him a 1 year contract to provide that same service. Today, he does graphic design, and today they renewed that contract for an additional year. And for him to go on to bigger contracts, they told him to go get registered for these different programs, and that will allow him to compete for even bigger opportunities. So again, he'd be a great person, Lewis, that I would first tell you to talk to. If you're in the programs, I would first tell you to reach out. I have Colin speak to you because he'd be a great person to talk to about overcoming your fears and what a difference it made in his life. And now he bought his first home in DC, which Washington DC is super expensive. He just bought his first home in DC, and he thanks me for helping him because he used the money he made in government contracts to do that. So just thought I would share that with you, Lewis. I still didn't see where you put your age at. I'm still waiting for it. And no, Gorilla Glue don't solve everything. No, I agree with you. Set the bar for folks and tell them when they're not cutting it. Yep. Speak to contract people. I was introduced to SCORE via Eric and PTAC in Wayne County, Michigan. Great. And again, that's start here. $12. Start here. $12. Or I think maybe no. I think this one's 9 and this one's 12. Start here. Great place to start. Look, NorCal PTAC is on Eventbrite. They got a good info just in case you want to see how one works. There you go. Quan, I call my local PTAC and they won't deal with me until I'm coming 2 years old. But Quan, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not. That's why, again, I tell people to start there because what happens, Quan, is a lot of people come on and they'll post in the comments that you could get all this free information out there that all these people are giving you, and look at your experience, right? They tell you, oh, Quan, go to your and so I just want to make sure that I'm doing right and I'm telling you all the resources to go to that are free, right? So start with free, and once you get past that, then you could come to me. And again, I give out a whole bunch of free stuff, which includes PTAX. I don't want someone to think, Quan, though, that I'm trying to hold back and not tell them about these things like, oh, Eric's trying to keep us a secret so he could buy their program. That's not me. That's not who I am. Anybody who watches my content knows I've freely been giving away this information because I want you guys as partners. I need you to be built up to the level where we can partner and do deals. I don't need you to be at this level down here where you've got no value to me. I want to build up people to where we can start partnering and going after deals because that's where the money is at. The money is not in $600 courses. The money is in $6 million contracts. Trust me. Okay. When you get on a Tuesday calls, I can show you profitability. I can show you what the contract was, how much we charge, how much we making. That's where the money's at. So while yes, these courses pay for my coaches and support the whole YouTube mission, it doesn't pay me. I make my money on government contracts that pays me to live where I live in the city, downtown, walking distance to all the restaurants, walking distance to the beach. My government contract money paid for that, not the courses. And yes, PTAC is pro state and local versus feds. Congrats, saw you down. VA online. Keep up the great work. Explain how to get these contracts based on NAICS. Yeah. In fact, so I want to bring up something because someone said this to me. And they said, go to the SBA before you pay for anything. And yes, that's a wonderful thing to do. However, I want to show people something. I don't think people realize that the SBA, they actually don't train or teach you. They pay money for organizations to support and train you, but the SBA themselves actually don't train and teach you government contracting. They pay for people to teach government contracting. All right. They pay small business development centers. They fund organizations that support and teach government contracting. But all of this stuff is still only informational. It's not tactical. It's It's information, which again is like give you a roadmap without giving you the shovels and how to actually dig or mine for gold. So if you get a roadmap to a place where the gold is at, how do you actually get the gold? That's the difference is. But I want to address this because someone said to me, hold on, I want to share this screen. Someone said to me, where is it at? There it is. So someone said to me about going to the SBA first. And to prove my point, I want to show you this. On October the 15th, small business, does everyone see it? Can everyone see? At the top, U.S. Small Business Administration event, Massachusetts Small Business Government Contracting Workshop, right? Hold on, let me pull up. All right, I want to make sure I can see it on my screen. All right, let's scroll down. If you scroll down, in fact, I'm going to take my picture off so you can see it. All right, current registered buyers, U.S. Corps of Engineers, Methuen Construction, Wilco Sales, GHCD, Colts Manufacturing, Babson College, Military Defense. Friday, October 15th, event agenda, 8 a.m., networking, 8:30 a.m., welcome remarks, 9 a.m., matchmaking, 9:30 a.m., Diane Dempsey, Small Business Director, BAE Systems, 10 a.m. Do you see what it says for 10 a.m.? I'm going to highlight it because maybe y'all can't read. Okay, SBA, U.S. Small Business Administration, Eric Coffie, GovCon Giants. When people tell you these things, they're speaking a lot of times out of ignorance. They don't really know what they're saying. The SBA reaches out to experts to provide the training. The SBA paid for an organization, SBDC. SBDC then brought me in as a speaker to teach you. So now you don't have to go through that. You're getting the direct source. So why not? If these people are now bringing on my students, which I can show you because I have students that are now teaching or brought in as professional speakers who learn from me, you're getting the information from the source. So when people say, oh, go to SBA before you buy something, the SBA doesn't do teaching and training. The SBA provides funding to other organizations that do provide training. The SBA coordinates events. They bring on people to do the training, but the SBA themselves do not provide actual training. They create programs. They support programs. They spend billions of dollars to train small businesses, but they do that through the use of experts and professionals such as myself. I just want to say that because somebody kept putting my thing, go to SBA before you buy anything. So I just want to show folks. That's right, Charlie, the receipts. Exactly, receipts. Lewis, 24. So that's what I'm talking about, Lewis. 24. There you go. All right, what else? I got to get out of here, man. It's 8 o'clock at night. I got to go. Okay. My man said the book was $9.95. $10. And Amazon getting 7 of that. So I'm getting $2.95, I think. Bought the books. Thank you. Appreciate it. My man Lewis says 24. All right. Graphic design. Look at that. Hey, so once you get inside the courses, talk to Colin. Colin is a big fan of ours. If you're not in a program, can you still join the Zoom calls? So right now, Jay, you cannot join the Zoom calls. However, and what we're doing is I'm going to, for this upcoming fiscal year, what we're going to do is when we start bringing on experts, I'm going to make it into a webinar and I'm going to charge people $75. So if you want to join the call for that particular expert to hear them speak, we're going to make it to a paid webinar for $75. So let's just do some quick math for folks out there, right? So let's say, okay, so if I do a webinar at $75, right, and I bring on a speaker once a month, that's 75 times 12. That's the same price you would have paid for the course. And that doesn't include the actual lessons, the modules, and all the other sessions that we have. So, but we will make that available for Jay because I do understand that Everyone doesn't have the money, and I'm totally okay with that. Make sure, by the way, everyone give me a thumbs up, give me a like on the thing on Facebook, wherever you're at, give me a like. Make sure you hit thumbs up on this. So yeah, Jay, but we will make some of the trainings available via webinar. You won't be able to sit in a Zoom call, but what I will do is probably create a separate webinar where you can actually listen in and send your questions. The people on the Zoom calls, I'm going to reserve that for members because they paid to be there and they can be in the room and actually talk to our guests and interact with them. So, and yes, awkwardly, where you're at, Lewis, we're here to support you. Lewis, we're going to support you no matter whether you're in the program or out the program. That's fine. You keep coming to YouTube lives and participating. I'm going to support you no matter what, because that's just what I do. Free, no problem. Appreciate you. All right, what else? Eric, you strike a good balance in my keys of being selfish, not having your best interest at heart. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Angel. I appreciate you. Love it. Yeah, I would hope so. It's just that sometimes, and I know that this comes with the territory, but it's hard for when you make 500 free videos and then you ask somebody to pay for something and people say, oh, he's a sale. And I'm like, no one complained when I make 500 free videos that I put out publicly. No one ever said anything. No one ever knocked me for making 500 free videos of my time. How much time did that take? So do I have compassion or any type of empathy when you say, Eric, I can't watch all those videos because it's a lot of stuff. I made them. I know. I took the time to make them, record them, think about the content, learn the content, regurgitate the content, share with you the stuff, and then turn around and be able to edit it and produce it. I'm just, and yes, Original 13. This is the best comment that you could have put. There are so many agencies willing to help newbies. There's so many agencies willing to help newbies. Is an understatement. It's an understatement. There are people that look like you, that talk like you, that come from where you've come from, that are sitting on the other side of that want to give you a chance. And you're not allowing them to give you a chance because you're not qualified, you're not capable, and you don't know what you're talking about. Give them an opportunity to help you, but you got to help yourself first. Become procurement ready. And then when you get to them, show up and know what you're talking about, and they're going to want to help you because they identify with you. They know how hard it is because they sit behind a desk and they're wondering the same thing. Like, could I leave my 9-to-5 job and do this? There are people out there appreciate that. So, all right. I'm new to town. When you contact the content officer, what should be said? Receive case goes from my first bids. Yeah, we talk about that in the course, 18 Lucky. There's different things that you can say based on your scenarios and what you're asking for. So again, there's a lot of stuff you can say to a contracting officer, but are you in the market research phase? Are you looking at forecast lists? Are you responding to a source of SAW? Are you responding to an RFP? Are you looking to talk to an OSTABU? There's probably 6 or 7 different scenarios I could think of. So depending upon the scenario that you're in, depends on what you should say. Can I submit all the paperwork to myself to win a contract? Do I need a few employees? You can absolutely submit all your paperwork to win your first contract. You don't need a few employees at all. But I would say you should probably have someone that you can talk to look over what you're doing that can just make sure, because I don't want you to lose money. And so I want to make sure that what you submit is the right thing. So even if you don't have any employees, you should have someone who has experience in this area looking at what you're doing. And I don't care where that person comes from. Find someone in your local area, if at the very least, who's done this and who's willing to help out the next group, the next generation of GovCon students, and have them look over your stuff. There are a lot. Listen, I'm not the only one out here willing to help. I know that I have the biggest voice because I'm on YouTube and you see me all the time, but I'm not the only one. Far few in between. There's been a lot of success stories that I've heard from people reaching out to my podcast guests. Now, when you reach out to my podcast guests, don't call them and say, I want to know how to do government contracts. You sound like an idiot. Repeat after me. Do not call them and say, I want to know how to do government contracts. You sound like an idiot. When you call them, you better know what you're asking for. You better have a request, and you better know a a little bit about what you're talking about in terms of your space and your industry and have done some research. Do like my man Sean. Go back and watch my videos and prepare. Uh, prepare so that way when you call them, you say, "Hi, so and so. I understand that you work at the U.S. Aviation Administration, and you do blah 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 for them. I saw you on Eric's podcast, and I just like yourself would like that is the same type of client that I like to have. However, my business is complementary to your business, and I think there might be some strategic alliances that we can create and form based on the market research that I did in that space. Would you be interested in talking to me?" Yeah, big difference. So again, do not most of us are, like I said, um, we're already defeated in our mind before the world defeats us. We're brain wrestling with ourselves. So again, I just want folks out here to know, to understand. There's a lot of people out here. Hey, Sean, have a good night, brother. MJ, yes, years of contents. You're welcome, Sean. Um, the thing is, there's a lot of people out here that are willing to help, that want to help, and they'll go out their way to help small businesses. They want to give back. I had 2 podcast interviews today. They both said the same thing. They're so blessed, so fortunate to be in their situation. In fact, I'm going to read to you a quote that one of my guests put on her. She actually has this quote on her wall, and I wrote it down. And here it is. And she said this to me, and she said, this is why she helps small businesses. Her quote says, "I still remember the days when I prayed for what I have now. I still remember the days when I prayed for what I have now." And because of that reminder on her wall, she continues to give back to small businesses, to help small businesses. And that's why I want to bring her on to our Tuesday calls so that she can talk directly to the women who have small businesses who are wanting to get started and encourage them and support them, because uh, that to me tells me a lot about this person, their character, who they are, what they stand for. And I totally agree with that. And they have great energy. In fact, their energy is contagious. And I want that for all of you. And so I want to make sure that she's one of the very first people that I invite. And I told her today on our Tuesday calls to come in. And she even said to me, she's hiring 2 more people, senior executive people. And once she hires them, then she's going to be able to have a lot of free time to do all the other stuff that she wants to do, like give back to small businesses. So there's a lot of people out here that are willing to help. You just got to go out and look for them. Can a PTAC counselor overlook your proposal? Some PTAC counselors, yes. A lot of them, no. And I'll tell you why. Some of the PTAC counselors say that they don't want the liability of reviewing numbers and proposals. So I would try it though. Look, you ain't gonna know if you don't ask. So hey, have your PTAC person look over for you. Yes, there's definitely templates in the courses on proposals. There's templates in the courses. I actually use an IDIQ proposal. We have Maria's proposals, F1 contracts. We have all that stuff inside the course. You're welcome, Marcia. Matter of fact, Marcia, you're welcome. I saw your message in the community chat. I think it was, and see, this is how I know when people reach out to me. I saw your message, Marcia. I think it's somebody's name starts with a D. Is it Daniela? I already sent it to Erica to reach out and give you a call. So Erica should be giving you a call tomorrow. Correct. Don't waste a resource. All right, listen, I got to run 8:28. I've been on here 2.5 hours. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Listen, if you have any more questions, give us a call, 786 477 0477. Thanks, guys. Look forward to talking to you soon. Appreciate it. Also, if you need to send an email because you're afraid to call us here, send us an email and we'll be more than happy to help you. Thanks so much. Take care. Enjoy your night.